All right, boys. Update on the playoffs time. Yeah, I've returned once again. I'm not disappeared yet. I'm still here, still kicking. But yeah, life for me has been pretty busy recently, working myself out and really getting some new stuff started in my life. So the channel's not dead. Channel's still very alive. I'm continuing to do this, and I just need to find time more often. I have been a bit slack recently, trying to work out videos during the time that I actually have free. So I'm going to try as my possible... I know I keep saying it and I sound like a broken record saying it now, but I'm going to continue to try and be consistent. But for right now, I've just jumped on. Ever since my last video, I'm just going to basically talk about what's happened in the playoffs so far. It's been a wild playoff so far. There's been a lot of different stuff going on, from the Heat from somehow having some sort of chance in Game 2 to getting absolutely blown out for the following 3 games and losing 4-1. The second round has been very good so far. Haven't missed a game so far. Other than the Cavs, realistically today, putting up a bit of a slow performance against Celtics. It was, Look, they've been playing really well. All teams have. The Cavs deserve to win Game 7 against Orlando, but ultimately, I just don't think they match up too well in this series against the Celtics. The Celtics are just too good for the Cavs, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of things have happened. Last thing I touched on was the Suns getting 4-0 swept. It was a massive surprise, but after these first 2 games of the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, the Wolves have shown us more to the fact that maybe they are a contending team. Yesterday, I sat there for 48 minutes, or however long actual games go for. I know that the game time's 48 minutes, but for the 2.5 hours of game time, just sat there the whole time and watched the Timberwolves put on a defensive masterclass. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, mind you, no Rudy Gobert yesterday either, which makes it even more impressive. You had Nickeil Alexander-Walker absolutely hounding Jamal Murray for 94 feet for the whole time. He played one of the best games of his career to date. I think he hit his jump shots as well, and he was just an overall surprise. Jaden McDaniels, although he only had 5 points and 5 fouls in the end, he was a massive factor in the game. He was playing as good a defense as you're ever going to see. Anthony Edwards is becoming a two-way ball player, and that's just insane to me that for the amount that he is producing on the offensive side of the ball, for him to not relax on the defensive side of the ball either is it's something that you don't get out of a lot of people, and it's surprising. And Karl-Anthony Towns, ever since Rudy Gobert has come through, I don't know if shout out to Rudy, by the way, just got his 4th Defensive Player of the Year. Ridiculous, one of the best defenders of our generation. Ever since Rudy Gobert came to the Timberwolves, Karl-Anthony Towns has gotten much better as a defender. I don't know if it's due to training with Rudy for so often and Rudy teaching him what he knows. But he's become a much improved perimeter defender, and even though, he was guarding Jokic for 70% of this game, I'd like to say, not really often in very one-on-one aspects, but he stood his ground. Jokic probably had his worst game of the playoffs to date. I think he only ended with 17 points, and I think he had both rebounds and assists, but overall his impact really wasn't there like Jokic's usually is. Jamal Murray is yet to have a Jamal Murray game, and you say that, but he's we had 2 game winners against the Lakers last year, blah blah blah. Other than those 2 game winners, for majority of last series as well as 2 games into this series, he has struggled from the field, defensively. And if the Nuggets are going to be any sort of chance in coming back in this series, he's going to have to get himself in a right place. And with the amount of defense and the brand of defense that the Timberwolves are playing, I don't know if that's actually possible, because they have just been putting on a defensive clinic as I said yesterday, was probably close to the best defense I've seen from any team in a very long time. Just insane. Over the east side, the Knicks stole one yesterday against the Pacers. Crazy game. Miles Turner with a late offensive foul, which ultimately might have hurt them this game. Jalen Brunson continuing to be the king of New York. He's just 40 points after 40 points. I don't know where it's coming from. He just has a knack for scoring 40 at the moment. I think they said 4 consecutive games, which is insane. The Villanova boys as a whole, Dante DiVincenzo hit some massive shots down the line, although he's not part of their group. Miles McBride is coming off the bench and having a massive impact. My key really to this series is the bench production, because we all know, like, last series against the Bucks, the Pacers' bench production was through the roof. So was the New York Knicks. We know Tom Thibodeau, he doesn't like to go too deep. He likes to play his top guys. And, you know, Dante last series played 48 minutes one game. It's the few minutes that they do get from those bench guys is going to be critical for the rest of the series. Because, you know, Jalen Brunson's going to do his thing. OG Anunoby's going to continue to do his thing. So is Josh Hart. Josh Hart, hell of a game yesterday, by the way. Ridiculous performance all around. The spot minutes that they get from the Miles McBrides and those sort of guys is going to be a difference maker in this series, because the Pacers so far to date have been deep in their bench quite a few times, and their bench has come through for them. TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin are their main two guys who are just performing to the highest level. Oh yeah, and one last thing I needed to address is my contenders lists. Yeah. No more. Clippers, I don't know how we all feel. Yeah, they just didn't have it in the end. Kawhi being out, obviously being a massive reason, but that's been quite a big reason for the Clippers over the last 3 years now. I think they said over a broadcast last series that he's only played 4 playoff games in his whole tenure at the Clippers, which is insane. You can't really put that sort of weight on Paul George and James Harden. Those guys played hell of a series. Russell Westbrook was very on and off, but he was good for the most part. They just didn't have the manpower. Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, debatably one of the best 1-2 punches in the world right now in the league. They're playing out of their minds, although Luka, as I'm recording this video, game 1 of OKC and Dallas just wrapped up, and Luka played potentially his worst postseason game of his career. Only had 19 points, and they were, you know, he was grimacing for a lot of the game, being, you know, not being himself due to a knee injury. You need to be able to bring as much as you can during the playoffs, because, you know, you don't know when you're not going to see another day. So it's, yeah, who knows what the rest of the year looks like. There's Timberwolves giving it to the reigning champions. Craziness. The Celtics, you know, the Celtics are just going to outmatch the Cavaliers, in my opinion. Cavaliers, although they did stick around for 3 quarters, it was still double-digit points for majority of the night. Pacers need to continue to use their bench depth, and Tyrese needs to... My biggest thing with the Pacers right now is Tyrese Halliburton needs to look for his jump shot. I think he shot the ball 6 times yesterday. 6 times as their star player. I know, like, we all know this, that Tyrese is their playmaker and he's, you know, controlling the offense for them and getting other guys open. But we can't have Miles Turner being our top scorer. As good of a player as Miles Turner has turned out to be as of recently, and Pascal Siakam playing really well, Tyrese Halliburton, they built this team for you. And for you to go into a playoff game and shoot the ball 6 times in 36 minutes or however much he played, I can't wrap my head around that. As much of, you know, an offensive 30 years passing the ball and he's going to find the right play every time, I need him as a superstar player, one of the biggest rising stars in the league right now. I need him to look at the ring. That's all I ask from him. That's, and this series might look a lot different. Over in the West, as I said, Thunder just won game 1, so they're looking pretty good. And Minnesota are, spoiling the reigning champs parade. They have made the Denver Nuggets. I had the Denver Nuggets for the longest time going back-to-back this year. I had full belief in them. They're looking human for the first time in a very long time, which is crazy to say out loud because, one of the best starting fives in all of the association and just playing some outright great basketball. And these first 2 games against, the length of the Minnesota Timberwolves have just got them completely out of sorts. But that's it. That's basically the recap. I'm hopefully going to get more consistent videos out now that I've kind of caught up with it all. I can now get recaps done, and going into the conference finals and the finals, I will most certainly have a recap video every day for those games. Considering there is only one game during that day, so for only 2.5 hours, I can sit there and focus on the whole game, get it seen, get it watched, and basically go from there, give you guys what you want to see. But we're all caught up. 8 teams left. There's, been some controversy so far, but may the best team win. That's basically it. If you guys enjoy this sort of stuff, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you really want to. I'm only a human, so I can only ask you very politely. But comment down below what you think's, the rest of the year is going to look like. Do the Celtics have a clean run, or are they going to hit, a roadblock like they have tended to do for the last few years? That's everything from me today. That's the recap. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow, and look after yourselves.